Hey, my friend. This is your Sidereal Astrology forecast for January 2nd through the 8th. Happy New Year. Happy 2023. I'm super excited to be here. I decided to just go live and do this video live. So if you pop on in, I'm excited to see you. If you are new here, if you're catching the replay, hey, Danny Simonis, your spiritual counselor, helping you find clarity on your spiritual journey. One of my favorite things to do is to help you remember or return to align with who you truly are. And we do that through the lens of astrology so that we can strip away, release, say goodbye to, heal those generational, societal, ancestral paradigms, curses that no longer serve who you now choose to be moving forward. My friend, I'm excited to be here. This is our Sidereal Astrology forecast. So let me tell you a little bit what we're going to talk about today, because we have some things happening in our sky, and I am going to do a full 2023 astrology forecast. I'm actually doing a 2023 retreat and goal setting workshop later on this month that I'm going to tell you a little bit about at the very end of today. So be sure to stay tuned till the end, because my friend, if you are hearing all those messages out there about setting your goals, it's time to get into action and we hit the ground running, right? If it's now January 3rd, you haven't picked your word of the year, or you haven't set your goals, you are behind. My friend, take a deep breath, because if you have not done that, it is okay. It is absolutely okay, because this is not the time to do it. We are in Sagittarius season, my friend. This is the time to explore. This is a time for adventure. This is a time for us to, vision, right? Vision what it is that we desire in 2023. So this is why my retreat isn't until a couple of weeks from now, when we enter Capricorn season, when it is time to actually solidify our goals for the year. So today, though, let's get into what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about where our moon is this week through January 2nd through the 8th. So we're going to talk about this for the week. This is something that we are doing here weekly on the channel. So you get to know what is going on in our sky every single week. We follow the moon because the moon is our emotional energy. And so we want to know, where is our emotional energy going to be? How may that affect us? And how can we use this energy to our advantage? Number two, we have a full moon. Speaking of the moon, we have a full moon this coming week on Friday in Sidereal Gemini. So if you are new here, we do use Sidereal Astrology in all of the understanding and pairing of astrology. And that is because that is the system that I have found really resonates with who I am. When I pulled my tropical chart and I pulled my sidereal chart resonated with me so much more. So there'll be more videos this coming year on the channel, all about sidereal astrology, why I choose it, why I use it, and how it is different from some of the other systems that you may hear out there, and how it may be even similar to those systems as well. I truly feel like pick the one that resonates with you and go for it. Okay, just understand astrology, my friend. Learn astrology. So if you are looking to learn more about astrology in like really practical, easy, simple terms, so that you can get it, this is the channel for you. Okay, so we're also going to be talking about Mercury. Mercury did go retrograde. It actually went retrograde at the very end of our 2022 year on December 28th. We're going to talk about that and where it's at, where it's moving, and how we can use that energy, because Mercury retrograde is always a time for us to grow and to reflect, actually. So we'll talk about that. And then we'll talk a little bit about upcoming movements that we're going to have. Two planets that changed zodiac signs, that moved into the energy a different energy 2 years ago are moving again. And so if you know anything about what happened a few years back, this is another significant time. So we're definitely going to talk about that. We're going to talk about more about it in a later video, but we are going to touch on it. So I want to give you that little tidbit. So stay tuned, my friend. All right. So I think we're ready. I said who I was. I said where we're going. I said what to wait for. So I think it's time to move forward. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And if you are here live with me, let me know. I don't know if I can see the chat, but if you are here, let me know, and I will definitely come back and say hi or what's up to you. Okay, so here is our, whoop, you gotta love how I went to go see if I could see it on my phone, and that's what happened. I don't know if I can see. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now I am up and running over here so I can see if you are going to send me any chat stuff, and let's get into this. Okay, so you are seeing our chart for, let me move my notes over there, our chart for this week, and let's go ahead and dive in. So this is actually as of January 2nd, 2023, Monday, day 2 of the new year, and this is what we have going on. This is where everybody was. Okay, so let's take a look at the very first thing is we always want to identify where our moon is, right? Where is our moon? We want to know where our emotional energy is going to be for the week. And so right now we can see that our beautiful moon is in Aries at 28 degrees. So 29 degrees is where the zodiac signs end. So each zodiac sign is roughly 29. It's 30 degrees, actually. It's 29, 59. So when we see it get to 29, we know that it's at the end of its time in that zodiac sign. And so when it's at this 28 here, we know that it's going to be moving. So I'm really going to say that most of Monday here is going to enter into that Taurus energy we see here, and it will be coming over and being conjunct, what's called conjunct, which is simply means their energies are close together. They're being shared, right? Really beautiful union here of these two planets. So right now, on Tuesday, January 3rd, these two planets are conjunct. So we're kicking off this week in Taurus, which is really beautiful energy to kick off this week. Taurus is an earth sign. It's a very grounded sign. It loves its comforts. It loves it's very in tuned with the senses. So you may feel that over these next couple of days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even into Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to be in this energy. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll be in this energy of Taurus, which is a little bit more chill, a little bit more relaxing, a little bit more tuning into the senses. Really good time to get out into nature, to connect with nature, ground yourself, watch the sunrise, watch the sunset, really take some time to get out and be within nature. Earth signs are also a really good time to get work done. So if there has been some work that you've been kind of putting off, it's time to get it done, right? Taurus is a really good energy for doing that, and working on your finances is a really good opportunity during Taurus. So getting into work over these next couple of days is going to be really great. And then on Thursday, as I mentioned, Thursday and Friday, we will be in the zodiac sign of Gemini. So we're going to switch from Taurus, we'll move into Gemini. And again, the moon is just moving through the energy of that sign. It'll be moving through this part of the sky that is Gemini. And Gemini is an air sign, so a lot different than our earth sign Taurus. It's more social energy. It's actually more communicative energy. It loves to learn. It loves to share, right? It loves to teach. It's really a really beautiful exchange of information that Gemini loves. So it loves to take on the information, to learn the information. Then it also loves to share the information. I often call these the social butterfly times of our life. So you may find that over these days here, Thursday and Friday, you're wanting to connect. You're wanting to be social. You're wanting to hang out with people. And we will be moving into that. What is it? The full moon energy. So our full moon is when the sun and the moon are in opposition to each other, meaning they are on opposite sides of the sky. And in this particular time, they are in Sagittarius and Gemini. So our sun is still in Sagittarius in sidereal astrology, and Gemini is where our moon will be hanging out. And so this creates their very opposite energy. They're both very knowledge seeking energies. They just do it slightly different. I often see Gemini and Sagittarius as the like kid in like junior high, right? Like learning, exploring, might even say like grade school type energy. Like they're just curious and learning and absorbing all the information. And Sagittarius is more of the college, right? Or higher, other type of higher education where there's more depth to it, right? There's more of a deeper understanding. Like I even think about it when I went to school and in college, right? Your first 2 years are what? It's all that undergrad work, right? And then you get into your major, right? And then if you go to grad school, you really dive even deeper into that major. It's that kind of idea where Sagittarius tends to think at a higher level. It tends to want to get information from a more expansive area or knowledge or viewpoint. So it's wanting to expand even more. Where Gemini is just curious. It's like, tell me all the things. I want to know all the things. Give me all this stuff, right? And Sagittarius is like, well, hold on. Let's refine this. Like let's look at this deeper. And from the sense of, right, coming from Scorpio to Sagittarius, where we go deep into information in Scorpio, but now we connect it to this higher idea, to this higher purpose. This is often connected to religion. I often look at it as just a higher knowledge, a higher purpose, right? Connecting to something that is greater than self, right? Which stems us into that Pisces energy, which is that wanting to connect with divine or knowing that it's like transcendence energy. So I kind of see these energies. And so as we look at Sagittarius and Gemini together, this is a really like Mercury retrogrades full moons are really a beautiful time to celebrate, right? Celebrate where we are and celebrate our accomplishments and what we've been able to do. This is why Sagittarius season is such a beautiful time of reflection, because we're able to, see things from a higher viewpoint than being in the mundane of everything. And we're able to kind of expand that information. And so I really love that. And so when we look at it from the full moon aspect with this Gemini energy, that curiosity, right? Wanting to, release, right? What is no longer like the social circumstances, the knowledge that is like, it's been good. Like I've gotten this knowledge, but I'm ready to dive deeper. And it's releasing any judgment. It's releasing any expectations on maybe what you've learned so far, and maybe even what you learned in 2022, right? Releasing a lot of those expectations of where maybe you thought you should have been, or the goals that you set out at the beginning of 2022. It's kind of like releasing all of that energy and allowing yourself to open up to the possibilities that are now before us with this 2023 energy. I really see this as like a nice, really culmination, right, of the ending of 2022. Now, again, I will say our Gregorian calendar tells us that it's the new year. If you follow the lunar calendar, right, we don't have that till towards the end of this month in January. And then if you follow the zodiacal year, we don't see that until we kick off with April with Aries, which in sidereal astrology is all the way till April. So, if you want to use this energy to like ramp up, my friend, feel free. Just know that it's not the true new year. It's just the Gregorian calendar. Okay, we won't get into that today. All right, so let's talk a little bit. Let's continue on in our week. So we have Saturday and Sunday. we move into Cancer. And so Saturday, Sunday, and then even into Monday. So a good portion of Monday, good first half of the day will be in Cancer as well. So we'll kick off next week in Cancer. So Cancer energy is a water sign. This is a really beautiful time for us to kind of slow down, take care of ourselves, nurture ourselves, right? Cancer is the nurture sign. It's the one that likes to take care of. And so if we want to, this is taking care of self, right? Taking care of our home. So really good time to maybe do some cleaning in your home, clearing things out in your home. Again, releasing that energy of 2022. I know a lot of people like to do that first of the year. I feel like this is a really good time to do it myself. Like I didn't do that first of the year. I'm going to use this weekend and this full moon to do that, to release, you know, some of the aspects of 2022 that I'm ready to release. But definitely with the house, like clearing things out, maybe even going through the home, like saging it, clearing any spaces. This would be a really, really good weekend to do that. Some self-care, taking care of self, those self-care practices, definitely a good time to do that. Water signs are really good for doing that. I would also say it's really creative energy. So any type of creative work would be really good during this time as well. And connecting to any, if you're an entrepreneur and you're writing those emails or those landing pages, sales pages, content, right? And you're wanting to connect to your audience emotionally, really good time to work on that during a Cancer moon. So we've got one this weekend. So if you've got some time this weekend to do some work, highly recommend it. All right, so let's take a look at Mercury retrograde. So Mercury actually went retrograde at the end of 2022. So it actually went retrograde right here on December 28th. I'll just fast forward it. You can see it here. And it was still in Sagittarius, right? So it's remaining, it's like at the very edge. In fact, it actually like started to get into Capricorn and then it went retrograde. So Mercury is going to be or is currently in Sagittarius. So this first current Mercury retrograde that we are in is in Sagittarius. Now, the Mercury retrogrades for this year, the theme of them they're all going to be in fire signs. So I'm going to dive more into this when I do the 2023 astrological forecast that's coming up at the end of this month in our workshop. But in this right here, this Sagittarius, this fire energy, Mercury is every year it has a different theme. Last year we were in our earth signs. And so there was a lot of earth energy that we were working through. This year, it's a lot of that fire energy. So when we're looking at Sagittarius in Mercury or Mercury in Sagittarius in this retrograde period, you know, Sagittarius is that expansive energy we've kind of been talking about, right? It's the explorer, it's the learner, that higher knowledge, that higher purpose. And Mercury is our communication, it is our thinking. And so when you look at this, or you know, when I was looking at this and I was evaluating like this idea of, what is this Mercury season going to be with this retrograde? I kind of had some ideas of how are we, you know, connecting, or how are we understanding that higher idea, that higher purpose, whether that's, you know, from God perspective, from universe perspective, or divine perspective, just something higher, something more expansive, maybe something beyond us, right? Something beyond the human experience. And so, you know, how are we connecting with that? And this would be a good time for us to take a moment to think about that, right? To reflect on that, because retrograde periods, all they simply are is an opportunity for us to slow down and to evaluate, to reflect, to return, to respond, to reconnect with. It's just an opportunity for us to, you know, get some insights on some things. And so in this particular time with this retrograde, with Mercury and Sagittarius, it's like it's connecting to, you know, what are my understandings of this higher being, higher purpose, higher idea, right? And also higher purpose within you. What is that higher purpose that you have within you? And reconnecting to that, especially right now as we're in January, and reconnecting to that idea of, what is my higher purpose, right? What am I here to do? I hear that all the time, Danny, what am I here to do? Right. And we do readings and we look at what astrology tells us. We tune into the Akashic records, and we ask those questions and get those perspectives. But like, what is it? Right? What do you think it is? The knowledge is already inside you, my friend. It's just that taking the time to slow down and to listen, right? Be aware and be open to. I also feel like there's an opportunity for us. Like, I love to use Sagittarius to be an explorer, right? I find myself right now wanting to learn different things, and particularly I've been working through words that might be my word of the year. I haven't settled on it yet because I'm not ready to settle on it, because I want to make sure I have a really good idea. But I've been playing with some words and playing with some ideas. And I've been thinking about, how am I being the explorer? How am I exploring my world? Because when I look at just my day to day, right, and the things that I have to do in my day, it can become mundane. It can become like step after desk, like checking something off on a to-do list, right? When I looking at my life and looking at my day as being an explorer, that energy shifts for me. And I'm like, ooh, right? There's this curiousness here now. There's this excitement. It's a different energy of like, ooh, what am I going to discover today? Or what am I going to go explore today, right? What might I come across today? That is super exciting, right? And that shifts my day-to-day routines, right? So how might you be the explorer, right? You might even take some time to reflect on that. And then the other thing is, Sagittarius, it is ruled by the planet Jupiter, and Jupiter is really that big, expansive energy. And so looking at this, I was like, well, how am I expanding myself, right? How am I expanding my perspectives? How am I expanding my mindset? How am I expanding my viewpoints? How am I expanding my circle? Right? How am I expanding my community? Right? So how am I expanding my business? How am I growing and expanding? And so this is a really good time for us to take a moment and say, have we stopped ourselves? Have we stopped? Have we said, oh, well, I got to this point, I'm good? Or have we been putting it off? Maybe you're somebody who's been like, oh, I've been wanting to do this, and I've been wanting to get better at this, and I've been wanting to grow, and I just don't have the time, right? What is that for you? Where are you in that expansive energy? Where are you expanding right now? Or are you restricting? Are you closing yourself off? Are you saying no? Right? So we remember law of polarity, right? We can't have one without the other. We can't have expansion without constriction. So what are we looking at, right? What are we focused on? Because where we focus, right? That's where energy goes, right? Energy flows where our focus goes. So that would be the thing that I would say is take some time during this Mercury retrograde period. And Mercury will be retrograde till the 18th of January. So we've got a couple of weeks here for us to slow that down and really look at those things. Now, from an entrepreneur standpoint, so for my entrepreneurs out there, take this time to look at how are you connecting with your purpose, and does your business connect with your purpose, and how are you communicating that? How are you sharing that with your audience? Now, I'm not telling you to go out and share it, not the time to share it yet, but reflect and maybe even look at some of the things that you have out there, your messaging during Mercury retrograde periods. It is always a beautiful time for us to work on our messaging, on how we are communicating our message out into the world. And so, look at how you're connecting to your why and how you're sharing that through the things that you're doing. Or is it in alignment, right? Is your higher mission, your purpose, is that in alignment with your business? Or have you maybe gotten distracted and fallen off, into another direction? And then how are you being the explorer in your own business? So oftentimes I will look at my like my flow of how I bring in new people and what they go through, right? What that explorer energy is for them through my content, but being that curious person, right? Even looking at your videos, looking at your posts, looking at your emails and saying, being like, if you were the new person to you, how is this being received, right? How do you receive it? And maybe where can you refine it? And then lastly, how are you expanding? Right? What are your goals this year? Right? Again, we're visioning. We're not setting them. We're not concrete yet, but visioning. What is it that you want to expand in? Is there a particular area in your business that you're wanting to expand? Is there a particular aspect of you that you're wanting to expand? Really good time to reflect on this. All right. So our final thing is our Saturn. So Saturn will be going retrograde. I'm sorry, we'll be moving. I'm talking about retrogrades over here. I've got retrograde on the mind. So Saturn will be moving into Aquarius here on the 25th of January. You can see it right here. Saturn moves out of Capricorn and moves into Aquarius. So when Saturn moves into Aquarius, that's a big shift. So these outer planets that we have, right, they affect us in more longer periods of time. So Mercury, like we're talking about right now, right, we've got a couple of weeks. And in general, Mercury is a planet it's one of the faster moving planets. And so it moves through zodiac signs every 6 weeks, unless it's in a retrograde period, which is then it takes a little bit longer. But some of these outer planets like Saturn, Jupiter, for example, they take 2 to 2.5 years to go through a zodiac sign. So this is a much, much longer period of time for us to work with the energy. So Saturn moved into Capricorn in 2020. And Saturn is actually rules the zodiac sign of Capricorn. So it was at home. It was in its limelight and it was doing all its things. Well, now Saturn is moving out of its comfort zone and into Aquarius, which is completely different energy. Capricorn is an earth sign. Aquarius is an air sign. And just that alone, if you think about the mother nature and you think about the wind, very different. If you think of like trees, right? And how the trees, the air flows through the trees, the wind flows through the trees, right? They work together, but they have different objectives. And so Saturn moving into Aquarius is going to shift that energy quite a bit. We also have Jupiter later on in the year changing signs and moving in to Aries. So it'll be moving from Pisces to Aries, from water to fire, completely different energy. So we are going to see some big changes again this year, but stay tuned to that 2023 forecast happening in our workshop later on this month. All right, my friend. So that is what is going on in our sky this week for you. Let me tell you really quick about some cool things that are going on this month. I'm super excited. Every year I have the opportunity to get together with the community, with my community, with my clients, and really help them go through a process to help them understand what is most important for them and really how they can find fulfillment in this new year as they are thinking about setting goals. What I often find is people arbitrarily throw out numbers, throw out resolutions, throw out intentions, throw out goals. And there's nothing really solid behind it other than, oh, that would be like a cool number to hit. Like, I'd love to hit this number in my business this year, or I would love to, travel to this country maybe, but there really isn't anything more behind it as to why that is meaningful, why I would even want to do it, and how that would even fulfill me. And so what we do during our 2023 retreat is called Reset and Realign for 2023 is 3 days for us to do just that, for us to go through a process of really reflecting upon the past 12 months. And let me tell you, we deep dive into this because It is one thing to sit here and be like, yeah, well, 22 is over. But there was so much goodness in 2022 that we don't want to leave on the table. We want to bring some of that stuff with us. We want to know why that stuff was important to us, how it served us a purpose, and how we grew from that information. Because I can tell you, my friend, if I ask you to tell me what how 2022 was for you, you might remember a couple of things. But when you really deep dive into it, you see how much you may have grown, right? Or maybe you haven't. Maybe you are still in the same place. And that alone is knowledge. So we're going to reflect. We are going to get really clear on what drives us, what fulfills us, what motivates us, so that we can have a really good vision of what it is we want to achieve in 2023. We're going to do some vision boards. We're going to choose our word of the year. We're going to walk through a process for that. And we're really going to solidify what that vision is for 2023. Then a week later, we're going to get together for our 2023 astrological forecast, where I'm going to talk all about what's going on in our sky and what are the themes of this new year and how to really use those in our goal setting and in our life, right? In our journey this year, followed by our goal setting process, where we'll actually set our goals for the year, really define what that looks like for us, and know exactly what it is we're working on and we're achieving and striving for every single month, every single week, right? And the actions that we can take every single day. And so, really beautiful opportunity for us to have the space to do that. So, one of the other things I find is people want to do this, right? They want to take the time to align with their goals for the new year. However, it's just like, first off, what do I even do? How do I do that? And number two, like, I'm not going to create the time to do it, right? It's really hard to create the time to do it. So, my friend, I have a process for you and I have created the space for you. So, come join us in our reset and realign retreat for 2023 happening this month on January 19th through the 21st. And then we're going to have our goal setting workshop actually 2 weeks later in February. I think it's February 3rd or February 4th. Can't remember, but it's that following Saturday. So I'd love to have you there. You'll find a link in the description box down below where you can learn more about the retreat and save your seat. Plus, I have a super special bonus if you are one of the first 10 people to join the retreat. So go check that out. All right, my friend. That wraps us up for today. This has been your Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of January 2nd through the 8th. Remember, my friend, to close your eyes and take a deep breath with me. And find